Just when you thought the Doge email drama was over, it's escalating. Elon Musk is doubling and tripling down now. A new "What did you do last week?" email is coming, and this time Musk is warning federal employees that those who don't respond to it will face termination. This is an article from the New York Post discussing this latest news. This was late last night. Elon Musk issues final warning to federal government workers who do not respond to second "what you accomplished" email. This is by Victor Nava. He writes, Doge chief Elon Musk teased Monday that federal workers may receive a second email asking them to list their accomplishments and that failure to do so will result in termination. The Tesla and SpaceX founder warning came hours after the Office of Personnel Management, or the OPM, notified human resources bosses across multiple agencies that responses to emails sent Saturday, demanding a list of 5 bullet points detailing what federal workers achieved in the previous 5 working days were, quote, voluntary, and that the failure to respond would not be taken as a resignation, as Musk had originally claimed. Now, Musk wrote on X about his original email, saying the email request was utterly trivial, as the standard for passing the test was to type some words and press send. Yet so many failed even that inane test, urged on in some cases by their managers. Subject to the discretion of the president, they will be given another chance, he wrote in a separate post, and failure to respond a second time will result in termination. Now, the billionaire head of President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency argued that the level of concern sparked by the initial Doge demand was, quote, absurd and indicative that something is deeply wrong with the federal workforce, which, yeah, it seems way over the top that a "what did you do last week" email would cause a massive meltdown, not just within the federal workforce, but in the news media and, of course, the Democrat Party. Now, responses to the first batch of "what you accomplished" emails were due by 11:59 p.m. Monday, which, of course, that has now come and gone. Now, Trump defended the Musk-directed effort hours before OPM's new guidance circulated, saying, "I thought it was great because we have the people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government." The president told reporters in the Oval Office. What he's doing is saying, are you actually working? There you go. Now, surprise, surprise, the New York Post writes, an amended lawsuit filed in San Francisco federal court over OPM's push to fire probationary federal workers cited Musk's email blast in its effort to reverse the mass terminations and claimed that the Trump administration has not followed any of the standard procedures for dismissing workers under the Administrative Procedure Act. Oh, boo-hoo. The amended lawsuit noted that OPM has not complied with any procedural requirements. At least some federal agencies, including the Federal Bureau of Investigations, aka the FBI, began telling their employees not to respond to this OPM surprise request. Musk tweeted that federal workers hate even the tiniest amount of accountability in response to lawsuits over the emails. And indeed, my friends, Donald Trump is backing up Elon Musk completely on this. Here is Teflon Don himself discussing the matter.
Sir, do you think that Doge could benefit from more streamlined communications? There was that email telling employees to give 5 things that they've done last week. Agency heads then told people to ignore it, but Elon Musk...
about the last email that was sent, where he wanted to know what you did this week. You know why he wanted that, by the way? I thought it was great. Because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist.
In other words, it's a trap.
That's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group. So what they're doing is they're trying to find out who's working for the government. Are we paying other people that aren't working? And, you know, where's all that? Where's the money gone? We have found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud so far, and we've just started. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there. Because maybe somebody stole the gold.
Of course they are.
Tons of gold. So I think it was actually... There was a lot of genius in sending it. We're trying to find out if people are working. And so we're sending a letter to people. Please tell us what you did last week. If people don't respond, it's very possible that There is no such person, or they're not working.
Some of the
And there it
agency
is.
heads instructed their employees not to respond because they were waiting on further guidance. But Elon Musk's tweet said a failure to respond would be taken as a resignation. So there's been a disconnect in communications.
Yeah.
Are you concerned at all about
Only,
that?
no. That was done in a friendly manner. Only things such as perhaps Marco at State Department, where they have very confidential things, or the FBI, where they're working on confidential things. And they don't mean that in any way combatively with Elon. They're just saying there are some people that you don't want to really have them tell you what they're working on last week. But other than that, I think everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people
Everyone
are.
except the left,
And we said, if you don't respond, we assume you're not
the
around.
Democrat Party.
And that holds, that stands.
And you're not
The
getting
media.
paid anymore, too. So, we're doing a real job. And we just had a poll come out, I guess the Harvard poll, saying that it's massively popular what we're doing. So.
Mr. President, do you see?
So there you have it. Donald Trump supports Elon Musk, and you best believe that there's going to be the second round of email that Musk is threatening. So what do we know so far about all of this? Well, Musk's latest X postings are framing the first email as a pulse check, which Donald Trump just referenced here in this C-SPAN video. It's all about testing the responsiveness. It's not a detailed audit here. His promise of a second chance sounds like, to me, the second chance email sounds to me like they are locking in on the roughly 2 million workers who received the first email but did not reply. He's hinted, by the way, that this could start this week as early as even today. Musk's termination threat for a second non-response lacks clear legal backing for himself, obviously, to do this, as OPM and unions argue that he has no direct authority over federal employees. And that may all be well and good. However, as Donald Trump is the power behind everything and the power behind Doge and Elon Musk, my guess is those who fail to comply with this email will likely be targeted for removal at some point down the road. They will be put on a list and they'll get investigated. I think that's the real purpose of all of this. So all in all, Doge and Team Trump are continuing their relentless pace. And one of the remarkable side effects of this just indefatigable pace is that the Democrat Party has essentially vanished into obscurity in the mainstream news cycle. You just don't really see them anymore. Yeah, there's an occasional, like an AOC popping up for 5 minutes in your feed, but she barely exists, as does anyone within the Democrat Party. Donald Trump has managed to obliterate the entire DNC, leaving their voices, their politicians with scant attention at best. Instead, all the focus seems to be on federal union workers, the activist judges who are trying to stop Donald Trump, and a few sporadic voices here and there. But the party itself, the Democrat Party, has found themselves relegated to the status of a JV high school team. There is no leadership with the Democrat Party. And there doesn't seem to be much hope that they're going to find a leader right now. The left is flailing. They keep chasing Donald Trump's tail, but they can't find anything to sink their teeth into. The moment they finally have an idea of how to combat one narrative, there's 10 new ones that are already taking the attention of the American people and the media. And so there's nothing there. Now, Mark Penn, he's a former Clinton pollster, was talking about the serious decline that the Democrat Party is in and the trouble that they're in. Recently, on a Fox News interview, this was, I think, February 23rd, he warned that new polling data he'd seen, which was set to release on Monday, on the 24th, showed the party's favorability cratering to around 35%, down from the high 40s. So the question then must be asked, how did it come to this? How did this happen to the Democrat Party? Well, frankly, we could write volumes. We could write books, many, many, many books about how the Democrat Party lost the plot. They lost who they were over the last 15, 20 years and evolved into something else. But the one thing that we can hang our hat on, and that there can be no doubt of, is that two of the biggest reasons for the self-destruction of the Democrat Party is the terminal need to satisfy their Trump derangement syndrome, or TDS, and their fetish and adoration of weird ideologies like DEI and the trans lunacy and more. These are the kinds of things that normal people, normal Americans, not only don't understand, but are repulsed by. Nobody wants to see little children converted from one gender to another through surgery and through medication that they can never come back from. And what about this obsession with race from the Democrat Party? I mean, the Civil Rights Act was all about bringing an end to race-based discrimination. But the Democrat Party, which, by the way, is the original party of slavery in the U.S., home to the creation of the KKK and to segregation in the 1950s, just can't seem to shake their past. Their roots just keep climbing up and grabbing them and dragging them back down under. Doesn't it seem odd to you that they keep regressing back to the race-based segregation and oppression? Why does this keep happening? Maybe it's time to rebrand. Maybe even throw away the name Democratic Party and start something new, something with less of a jaded and corrupt past. But of course, who am I to suggest anything? What's more likely is they're going to continue to fester in the rot and the filth that they have created for themselves. And if they choose that path, it is going to be a long, long, hard road in the wilderness all by themselves in the deep, deep minority. But of course, only time will tell.